Natsuki is an 18-year-old and the third member of the Literature Club. She is introduced in Act 1 of Doki Doki and stays until the end of the game. Her mean but sweet nature makes her a fan favorite between all the other girls. She is seen taking an interest in MC in the first act and critiques many of his poems. Throughout the game, Natsuki hints at her somewhat sad past of her absent and abusive father. After a mysterious reset, Act 2 makes Natsuki more mean and likely to pick fights with other members of the club. She is more judgmental towards her poems and more cruel. While the days pass, Natsuki walks into Yuri's dead corpse and sprints away. She is then deleted by Monika. The last reset has Natsuki as shy and cute as she was in the beginning. Sadly, this doesn't last long because the club is then destroyed and deleted by an unknown source. Her ultimate fate remains unknown. Natsuki Subaru-kun is a 17-year-old human male born in Japan. He led a pretty lackluster life, being a shut-in and dropping out of high school, until the day he was transported to another world. He would go on to meet Satella and her companion Puck, who Subaru had promised he would help find the stolen insignia that she had lost. After entering a loot cellar, Subaru would be killed by an unknown force, although death was not enough for Subaru. Subaru had been gifted, returned by death. This would reset his life to a certain point so he would be able to try again. He would go on to help Satella find her insignia and learn her true name, Emilia. After being invited to the home of Roswell's domain, he would go on to be killed by another unknown force in his sleep. He would go on to try and gain the other members of the house's trust. This ultimately led to Rem killing him, for she believed he had something to do with the witch's cult. He would go on to earn her trust by saving her life and showing her that he cared for her. Subaru would go on to then suffer a lot.
ご自愛ください。レムが帰るまでお願いですから待っていてください。お願いします。スバル君のレムより。
やっと名前を呼んでいただけたようですね。
Ram and her twin sister were born into the Demon Clan and were going to be killed as babies before Ram was confirmed to be just as powerful as any other Onis. Brought up to think that Ram was better than Rem, she was in the shadow of her sister. Sadly, her village would be destroyed by the witch's cult and saved by her sister. Unfortunately, she was ambushed and her sister's horn was cut. Fate would have it that Roswell Mathers would save them and bring them into his care. Rem would go on to become a maid at Roswell's mansion and learn alongside her sister. She would go on to meet Natsuki Subaru, who originally she suspected was working for an outside source to betray Emilia. She would even go on to kill Subaru, but in the next reset, began to trust him. She would go on to fall for him and confess her love for him. After she rejects him to run away with him, he rejects her confession and they both laugh it off. Like friends do. Thumbs up if you get that Brad Hall reference. Anyway, Rem would go on to help Subaru fight the White Whale and be injured during the process. After the battle was won, she is taken back to the capital. But her ultimate fate remains unknown. I'm really not going to tell you the what happens because that'd be pretty massive spoilers. Look it up at your own risk, dude. Alright, let's set up this fight. This fight is going to be all over the place. Y'all might be thinking, I'm just Star, how is this fight going to work out? I'm just Star, this fight can't work. Rem's too overpowered. Well, let's sit back, find out who wins, because there is a clear winner and loser. Natsuki is shown to be the smallest of the four girls. Oh, man. Anyway, don't be taken back by her appearance. She may look small, but you haven't looked at the bigger picture. See, I want to bring awareness to Natsuki as a combative fighter, and look at what Dan Salvato hints at, but not outright states. So, Natsuki's strength can be examined in one of her first encounters with the MC, when she outright lifts this large case of manga with her bare hands. Some of you may cite, well, MC did help by holding her chair, but I think we can look past that. So let's examine the other facts that are going to debunk this statement. Her stamina is extraordinary. This is showcased when she runs away from Yuri's dead corpse. Runs! If she started to sprint, oh my god, she'd probably be as fast as the Flash. And we don't even know how fast the Flash actually is. And guys, if she was going to go Super Saiyan, well, the fight might as well be over. It definitely would go in a different direction. In conclusion, Natsuki's physical abilities are great. She will not give up easily and will definitely not back down. While examining Subaru, I came across many examples of his physical abilities, showcased throughout the series. While Subaru has stated that he was a NEET before he was transported into the world, he has stated that he kept in shape to the minimum degree. Subaru has proven this on multiple occasions, defeating 3 thugs in the capital and destroying Rem by hitting her across the face. Even being able to throw Ram all the way across to Ram. Subaru's stamina is something that, in my opinion, is rather on par with a normal human being's. He is fit for his age, but has yet to enter his physical prime. Subaru has described himself on several occasions that he is indeed a weak man. Subaru has been seen using his quick reflexes to even outplay the likes of Elsa, who was a bowel hunter. He was able to push Emilia out of the way and grab Rom's wooden club to block Elsa's attack. He was even able to dodge Rem's attacks with her Morning Star. If he does get hit with a hard blow though, he is effectively out of the fight. Subaru has also shrugged off hits from Elsa's blade and is still able to tank the damage, but he has showed signs of strain. All in all, Subaru is about on par with the average human that is not built up to be anything special whatsoever. Rem is a 17-year-old Oni who looks almost exactly like her twin sister Ram. Her small features are easily looked over by any of her opponents. Because of her demon horn, she possesses superhuman strength and agility. Although she herself was not built up like someone like Julius or Old Man Rom, her skill in parkour and performing acrobatics into her fighting technique formed her into a highly durable opponent. Also, Rem applied many jumps into her fighting technique and could dodge many attacks and parries. Rem's strength was showcased with her ability to kick and punch several mobbies with ease and stomp the literal ground hard enough to cause a rift that caused multiple mobbies to go flying. Her familiarity with her weapon added great effect to her agility, being able to parry herself with her own weapon in order to change the battle to her choosing. While Rem being only 17, this leaves her at a disadvantage because she, like the other Natsukis, have not entered their physical prime. But the amount of physical punishment Rem has been through at this age showcases how durable this girl is. She has survived even being crushed by rubble and having her entire body crushed by Betelgeuse. Honestly, she gives Darth Malgus and Vader a run for their money. But because of her wide range of acrobatics and her demon-given superhuman strength, this gives her a strong step ahead of her competition. While both Natsukis are humans and possess relative strength, they themselves are not yet in their physical prime. Because of Subaru's weak build, he is rather fragile. And truth be told, if he does take a decent hit, he may be out of the fight depending on his willpower. Natsuki, on the other hand, is a different story. She does possess an insane amount of stamina and will definitely be in this fight for the long run depending on, well, if she does get hit. Because of her being a lightweight, she will not be able to tank a hit at all. While Rem is over here doing parkour, kicks, and a bunch of other stuff, she simply outclasses them combined. Rem is definitely not the most heavily built person in the ReZero universe, but due to her superhuman strength, agility, and stamina, she will pull through with relative ease. Physical edge goes to Rem. And now we will examine Natsuki's preferred fighting style and technique. What are you talking about? Natsuki's never been depicted in an actual fight? ever? Well, we also don't know how she would apply her combative abilities in combat if she even was forced into a combative scenario. So, what we're going to have to do, in this part of the video, we're going to have to go into speculation. We have two areas we can explore. While vague, we can assume she can and has picked up on. Looking at her living conditions at home, we can clearly see she has an abusive father. While I think it's too far to assume he physically beats her on the daily, but if she does get hit, one can only imagine she would apply that fighting style into her own. One punch there, one push there. You know, you get what I'm getting at. Natsuki has even told MC that she loves manga. And while we don't know the type of stories she reads, we can only speculate she might pick up on a few ideas while she's reading her literature. Looking at you, One Punch Man. Natsuki Subaru's main weapon and fighting style is not yet classified in any light novel or episode in the show. Fortunately, I have created a set of statistics and areas of weakness Subaru does have. Subaru has been seen using a standard wooden training sword and kitchen knife. While in possession of the wooden sword, Subaru showed some moderate skill in his swordsmanship. While he was training with Wilhelm, he learned a decent amount of fighting techniques. Subaru has also been shown using his flip phone's flash to temporarily blind Rem in order for himself to buy time to escape. Subaru's most skillful fighting technique is his unarmed combat. He was able to defeat 3 thugs in the capital with relative ease, powering through them, and defeating the mobbies with his bare hands. All put together, Subaru is a fighter at heart, and he makes great use of his environment. This man will keep fighting unless he is physically unable to. He shows great promise in unarmed combat and could possibly develop a deeper skill. Unlike Rem wielded a Morning Star that was bigger than an average school bus. Her skill and familiarity with this weapon enabled her to contend with members of the witch's cult. Even without the use of her superhuman demon strength, she is able to use it without any sign of strain or fatigue. She is seen to go on for hours using the weapon without tiring at all. Rem is capable of using her Morning Star against 1 or more targets, as shown in her fight with the mobbies and members of the witch's cult. She was able to use her weapon to help reposition herself in battle and perform acrobatics to fling and spin herself around the battlefield. While her demon strength does give her an edge with the weapon overall, her normal state, which she'll be entering in the battle, should not be taken lightly at all. This decision was purely made by the amount of evidence and realism presented to me. So, therefore, I'm going to be giving the edge to both Natsukis. I'm just joking. I'm not that generous. Come on. While Subaru does have hard evidence to go by, Natsuki, on the other hand, well, she's kind of hopeless compared to Rem, and even compared to Subaru if you want to go that far. While we don't know how hard her dad beats her, I mean, we don't know the range of combative knowledge she has in order to apply it well in combat. Looking at Subaru, we also are able to see how his skill tree actually is. Surprisingly enough, he is a smart fighter, able to damage Rem's horn in order to get her back to reality. Also, using his cell phone as a weapon even proved effective against Rem. Although Rem is more familiar with her own weapon and style of fighting than Subaru, Rem does have a bigger edge against both the two combatants. Even when disarmed or implying unarmed combat into her fighting style, she is proficient, able to beat down a mobbies to death with just her bare hands. Rem's stamina also plays into her favor too, due to, well, both Natsuki's not having the best endurance compared to Rem. So, I'm going to be giving the combative abilities and fighting style edge to Rem. And now we move on to their special abilities and tactical mindset. I'm so tired. Oh my god. Oh man. Oh, Buff Suki. You're so much better than Natsuki. Oh, I'm just tired. Why can't you be more like Buff Suki? Oh this is awkward. While I'm dreaming, I like to imagine that Natsuki is just as great as a tactical mindset as Buff Suki. But anyway, since Natsuki has never been seen ever in a combative fighting mode, we don't know how she would apply it to her own style. We don't know if pushed to her own limits, she can go Super Saiyan. So, hopefully she picks something up while reading her manga. Oh god, I can't believe I fucking said that in the fucking mic! Oh no, everyone's gonna know. Alright, well after that embarrassing incident, I'm going to move to Natsuki Subaru. When Natsuki Subaru entered the kingdom of Lunica, he had obtained the ability to return by death. While it did take 3 deaths for him to even learn he had the ability, once he knew he had it, everything went to shit. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. It's whatever. Subaru used his gift to learn as much as he could while he was alive, while trying to gain people's trust and learn their motives. Because most of Subaru's deaths were caused by physical trauma, he was always reluctant to kill himself to reset. But because this gift had an unknown amount of resets, this was left at Subaru's disposal. If he didn't succeed, he could try again. And again. Until he won. Or gave up. Besides his return by death ability, Subaru's tactical mindset played right into his hands. When he was killed by Elsa using a knife that cut right in the stomach, in his next life he was able to warn Reinhardt and save himself from her attacks. He used the environment as a huge advantage to help create openings for himself and defeat his other opponents. While running away from the archbishops, he used Emilia's magic stone to protect himself from the mobbies while they attacked the archbishop. Subaru was not able to speak of his return by death ability, and if he did this could cause dire consequences for him and those around him. If said, this could cause the witch's creations to be drawn to Subaru due to the scent that lingered from his body. He took advantage of this by drawing the attention of the mobbyists away from Rem and the White Whale in order to help the battle. While Subaru to some degree is a spirit user, he has a slight skill with Shamok without the help from anyone else. The Spirit Puck showed Subaru his elemental gift Shadow, which enables him to use Shamok which traps an enemy in a state of darkness. This also harms and dulls one's senses, so Subaru had a small advantage on his attacker. When used, Natsuki was given help from one of Julius's spirits. This helped him defeat Betelgeuse. Julius's spirit, Rental Ghoul, Subaru was able to blast a fireball of energy at Betelgeuse. Put all together, Subaru does have a lot at his disposal, and can effectively use it, whether it be killing himself or his skill with spirit arts. Because Rem is part of the Oni species, and does possess a single demon horn, while most of her species does have only 2, this doesn't mean Rem is at a disadvantage. If her horn is activated in combat, this gives her an increase of her physical abilities. This shaped Rem into a girl who could effectively tank most attacks that came her way, even surviving literally being mangled by Betelgeuse, and being able to crawl free to Subaru. Because her abilities were increased, this allowed her stamina to increase significantly. She was able to fight on for hours without any sign of fatigue. This effectively gave her superhuman strength, being able to smash the literal ground to create a ripple effect around the surrounding area. She also has been seen being able to beat down her opponents with just her fist. Rem is proficient in water magic, and has a wide set of abilities that she has learned by being a skilled user. Even Roswell estimating her skill to be relatively high. Rem used Huma to effectively block incoming attacks and projectiles. Her water barrier could be broken if other users' attacks were stronger than her shield. While fighting against members of the witch's cult, she was able to use one of the members as a human shield before using her ability called El Huma, which shoots large ice spikes at one's enemies. She also could create a large projectile ice spike that measured up to be about 10 meters long that she could use against a single enemy. She used her surroundings to aid herself to fight others by using tables and wooden blocks to be thrown at her opponents. Just like Subaru, she made good use of the environment. Rem's skill and her abilities gives her a huge step up, but compared to Natsuki, it does look to me like it could be an even fight. And now I will declare the verdict. While examining both teams, I came to the conclusion that both teams have special abilities that will drastically change the course of the fight. While be it a bit unnoticed, Subaru does have a set of skills he can apply to help win the fight. Although his partner, looking at you, won't be much help. In my opinion, Subaru used his environment as a weapon that aided him to win most of his fights. Also, just because he is not a master at any of his spirit arts doesn't mean he's completely useless, as shown when he fights the mob beasts. But up against equal or more skilled opponents, he crashed and burned hard. Being up against Rem does have a larger set of abilities and superhuman powers that will definitely be an extreme challenge to face up against. She is not new to learning her spirit arts like Subaru, and has been training and learning since she was a kid. This ultimately leaves Subaru at a disadvantage and leaves Rem as a more skilled fighter due to Subaru's lack of experience. Sadly, I'm going to have to give the edge to Rem. I'm sorry, Team Natsuki, but you did not win any of the rounds. Edge to Rem. The fight between both teams would be one of the most laughed at fights in history. But this fight won't come down to one's physical abilities or skill in one's weapons, not even tactical ingenuity. But every round I have given the edge to Rem. And while I do stand by that decision to some degree, there's a way around that. And I'm sure some of you might have caught on to that. Both Natsukis can't outlast Rem in a contest of physical might or stamina, and since they don't have a proficient skill with a weapon like Rem, it will be difficult for them to win. But, in my special abilities and tactical mindset verdict, I left out Subaru's ability to return by death. And that is where this fight will go down. To the grave and beyond. Because Natsuki Subaru can return by death, and he can effectively try again. Don't say it's a cheap shot, because it isn't. I didn't spend 20 minutes on this video not to pull this out of my ass. Let's set up this fight. Let's say the battle takes place in the forest of Roswell's domain. Let's also say that Rem is coming with the intent to kill Subaru and not holding back whatsoever. No one will get in her way. A bright light flashed above, almost as if this was the only source of light that retained all across the forest. It all must end, a faint voice said. Destroy it all. A place where no happiness can be found, Natsuki thought. Goodbye. It was the last thing Natsuki heard. It all was over. Why did this happen? Why? I felt I was at home. I loved them all. Natsuki could not speak. She didn't know why or didn't know if she could even try. She felt she was conscious. She thought she was conscious of the situation. She wasn't in the literature club anymore. It seemed like she was trapped in a void for centuries, when in reality it could have been for hours. She had nothing. Thinking became something she had neglected because she had all the time in the world to think, and she had already did. She had thought that she had gone over everything. It came to the point where she began hearing voices in her head, simply having conversations with each other. And then, it came. What seemed like a speck of dust had appeared, and once she took notice of it, it exploded. Light rushed into her void, seeping into her mind and overwhelmed her. Brightness. And then she opened her eyes. She laid on the hard ground staring at the sky. The green trees danced around her as the wind picked up. The chill of the wind gave Natsuki a shock down her spine. This was all overwhelming. Where was she? Where are the other girls? She sat up. As she looked at her surroundings, she knew she was far away from school. Thick trees neighboring her, and the aroma of a rotten stench. Help! She gasped. Her own words startled her, and she fell back on her head. Surprised she was even able to speak, she looked around again. to see nothing but trees. I've got to get up and find help. She forcefully pushed herself up and began to walk the way the sun rose. Almost instantly, she saw it. A huge mansion. By looking at this, she realized she stood on top of a mountain that overlooked the mansion. Thank God. Thank God, thank God, she cried and sprinted downward. Natsuki Subaru pushed himself away from the mansion, crying while doing so. No. I'll save you, he mumbled under his breath. He recalled how dangerous she could be when she was your enemy. Where did I go wrong? Where did it all go wrong? As Subaru continued to run from whatever hell he was trapped in, he recalled why he had gotten into the situation. It was a simple morning. A cold, but simple morning. Hey Rem, wanna have a cook-off? I bet I can make better omelets than you. Oh man. Rem smiled back with her innocent face. Subaru-kun, you silly boy. Even Ram knows I can make better omelets than anyone in the kingdom. Ah, Rem, that's where you're wrong. Back where I come from, I had a talent of making fantastic omelets. My family would line up for hours just to get a taste. They began with cracking the eggs and whisking the yolks. As Subaru came closer and closer, he knew in his heart he would win. Oh, he would. Done! Rem shouted. Subaru was almost done when Emilia and Ram both walked in. I'm finished too. Rem, go first. I want them to be in awe when they try mine. Rem chuckled and handed them both a piece. Excited, Emilia screamed, Very good, Rem! Oh, Rem, these are great, Ram said. As Subaru handed his omelet to the girls, he knew he would win. He knew they would be proud. And then... Wow! These are amazing! Oh my god, these couldn't have been better. Rem stared. And stared. I hate to say it, Rem, but these might be better than yours, Ram said with a mouthful of Subaru's omelet. Natsuki Subaru did not get to enjoy his experience for 1 second. Without thinking, Rem's horn leaped forward and then kicked Subaru out the window and landed in a bush. Subaru then sprinted away with fear, knowing she would come for her revenge. When Natsuki reached the entrance of Roswell's mansion, she was greeted with a pale young man sprinting away. Hi, Natsuki said with her smile. Can you help me? I'm lost. I really don't know where I am, and I have no clue where I could possibly be. Subaru looked at the confused young girl and screamed, Run! As they both ran, Subaru pointed to the woods and said, This way! We have to run, now, and don't look back. Rem was catching up, and he needed to either escape, or... No. He couldn't. He couldn't hurt her. Subaru-kun! Rem dashed forward and chucked her Morning Star in the direction of Subaru. The weapon's length was not long enough to hurt Subaru or the girl, but suddenly they started tumbling down a small hill. The small rocks impaling Subaru and Natsuki on the way down, and they both crashed in a small shack, and where one single blade laid. Natsuki picked it up, and then helped Subaru up. We have to stop her, yelled Natsuki. Rem, no, we can't. She's insane, she'll kill us, Natsuki screamed. A moment later, Rem crashed down a few meters next to them with the intent to kill. Natsuki charged with all of her might and tried to aim for Rem's head when Rem punched her to the ground, effectively breaking her nose and possibly her jaw. How dare they? Subaru-kun, for 18 years I've made the eggs. The best eggs. I'll kill them after everything that has transpired today. Rem, don't. I'm your Subaru, remember? Your hero? Don't do this. Don't kill them over this. Subaru was so worried of what would happen next. I'll paint the walls with their blood. At that moment, Subaru knew he had to take action. He didn't want to, but he had to for Emilia and everyone else in the mansion. He had no idea what would come of them. He didn't know if they were already dead or injured. He had to do something in order to save them. Subaru stood. Shamak! Screamed Subaru. A blast of darkness shooted across the area, and Subaru was clouded by darkness. And he dove for the blade to incapacitate Rem. With one hand, Subaru lifted the blade and charged at Rem. But he couldn't. He didn't have it in him. He missed. Or he didn't finish the job. He had hit Rem with the flat edge of the blade, and then was cut down immediately by Rem seconds after. The fight was over. It was done. Subaru didn't have it in him. It was Rem. How could he? It was done. But hold on, guys, the fight isn't over. Every time Subaru dies, he learns more and he gains more from it. Until he can win. So however long that's going to take, he's going to win, or he's going to give up, so it's really undeclared. Until he knows every one of her moves and can counter them, or he gets nearby help, he can learn to push himself to save his friends. That's right. You heard it. I hereby declare Natsuki Subaru the ultimate victor. And that is it, guys. We are done. Oh my god. Another versus video in the bag. Oh my god. I can't believe the third one. I did a complete joke of a video. I got the idea to make this video when I finished ReZero. And I don't even know when I did that. I think it was around April, maybe probably the end of April, and I started working on this, I'd say about the beginning of June. So hopefully I got what I wanted to get out of making this video. Jake, I know you thought this was a complete waste of time, and sometimes of making this, I kind of felt the same way. But I had fun making it, and oh shit, man, you don't even know that the amount. Oh man, the script was a bitch to write it sometimes, but this was one of my strongest writings, you know, but it was also one of my weakest at the same time. But I don't know, I loved how I did it with the actual story that led it to the actual fight, which is pretty mediocre to say the least, probably. Yeah. But anyway, I decided I'd try, just because I just felt like it was a cool thing to do. I didn't feel like doing a regular versus end by just saying that Rem would win and then Natsuki would come back. I decided to wrap it up in an actual story. I will be making another versus video in the near future. It'll hopefully come out before the end of September, or maybe in the middle of September. I'm not sure. I'm going to be doing a Darth Maul versus Lord Scourge. That might change, but I'm definitely keeping Lord Scourge. Lord Scourge is definitely going to be a thing. Alright, guys. Oh, man. I'm going to be uploading some, I don't know, probably nothing. I don't know, maybe. If something funny happens or whatever, I want to talk to you guys about something, I'll let you know. I might post a short video in the near future on Saturday about something, but I might not. It depends on how I feel. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you actually enjoyed this video, hope that you at least enjoyed yourself while watching. It was kind of fun to make, and I kind of hope to bring awareness to how all the combatants fight. And our girl Natsuki, oh man, she is just she is not as good as Buff Suki, I'm telling you, man. Alright, man, take it easy. I feel like I'm talking to one person. Take it easy. Hope you all have a good day. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Goodbye.